Ingredient for this organization is Pat Riley.
With the Lakers, he's won four championships, and no one on this ball club has been past the second round in the playoffs. So, you know, when he says something, sometimes we may not agree with it, but we listen, and you know, we go with it.
The Knicks haven't won a championship since 1973, and they've won only one division title since then. A short while ago, I asked Pat Riley if he leaned on the reputation Patrick Ewing spoke about in order to get his new team's attention. Here's Riley.
Well, I haven't consciously used it, Bob. I think, when I took this job, we had developed a philosophy about how we want to play and how we want to operate. It's based basically on the years that I coached in Los Angeles. I believe in some certain things, and I come out forthright with them, and it seems as though right now they're responding to what the coaches are coming forth with.
As successful as you were in Los Angeles, it's my guess that a year away might have made you an even better coach. A little bit of distance, a little bit of perspective, a chance to sharpen your focus. True?
I don't know about that. I think the year with NBC was a wonderful platform for me, and it gave me an opportunity to really think about the game and see it close up, from a distance, but probably from a leisure standpoint and being able to sort of collect my other life and get it in a little better balance. 2 years might have been better, but this opportunity was just too good. The challenge was too great, and I'm happy with the decision in getting back into coaching.
How have you put the challenge to Patrick Ewing? How have you placed the season's challenge in front of him?
Patrick Ewing is simply, I think, the best center in the NBA, and I think night in and night out, Patrick has to set a standard for himself, one that he's never going to be satisfied with. He gets pummeled, he gets defended, he gets abused every single game, and he's got to go above and beyond it. And for the mere reason of his greatness, he's got to carry the load. He's got to carry the burden of this team, and that's what goes with superstardom. And I think that's where he's beginning to focus. He understands that.
More on Riley and the Knicks in the Insider segment. Just 5 games on the NBA schedule last night, and one of the best matchups was in Phoenix, where the Suns, winners of their last 16 straight at home, took on the Houston Rockets. Unheralded Andrew Lang here off the Kevin Johnson pass outplayed his more celebrated counterpart at center, Hakeem Olajuwon. Lang had 18 points, 12 rebounds, 6 blocks. Olajuwon held to 11 points and 6 boards. Now here's KJ finding All-Star Jeff Hornacek for 2 of Jeff's team-high 21. The Suns win it, 106-92 over the Rockets.
It was a tough game, the second game in 2 nights, especially with an overtime game the night before. So, our guys played well.
This makes you feel good.
The win puts the Suns into a second-place tie with the Warriors behind the Trailblazers in the Pacific. The Rockets, who beat the Chicago Bulls earlier in the week, fall 4.5 games off the pace in the Midwest. The team setting the pace there is the Utah Jazz. Last night, the Jazz traveled to Dallas to take on the woeful Mavs, losers of 15 of their last 16 games. The ranks are thinning for Mavs coach Richie Adubato due to injuries. Dallas used only 7 players. None could top Karl Malone or stop him for that matter. He had 15 of his game-high 26 in the third quarter as the Jazz pulled away. Malone also had 11 rebounds. Here he makes up for Jeff Malone's miss as the Midwest Division leading Jazz won their 3rd straight, cruising past the Mavs 104-90. Now the Celtics, who are trying to stay in the Atlantic race without Bird, McHale, or D. Brown, traveled to Philly to take on their old rivals, the Sixers, in a game that got physical even by Charles Barkley's standards. We pick it up in the 3rd. Sherman Douglas is greeted by Barkley in the lane, and the little man comes away the winner as the collision repositions one of Barkley's teeth, putting him on the sidelines for 8 minutes. But despite missing that period of time, Charles came back to finish off the Celtics with a season-high 38. And the Sixers win at the Spectrum, 126-110. Now we head west to L.A., where the struggling Nets visited the Clippers. Here a Clipper break is started by Charles Smith. He gets it off to Ron Harper, now ahead to Danny Manning. Behind the back to Danny Young, return to Harper for the jam. And the Clips snap a 4-game losing streak, 99-88. At the Omni in Atlanta, Isaiah Thomas scored 10 of his 24 in the final 6 minutes of the game as Detroit took its 10th straight regular season win over the Hawks, holding Atlanta to a season-low 80 points. Last night's game was the 3rd the Hawks have played without Dominique Wilkins. Wilkins, of course, tore his Achilles tendon on Tuesday night against the Sixers. He had surgery on Thursday, and obviously he's lost for the season.
unfortunate break, and Dominic's a strong person. He'll be back.
Charles, thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
Damn, man.
Yeah, one of them things, man.
Unbelievable.
There was no one near me. I just turned and just popped.
When they catch you off on the stretcher, I knew it was bad then. All right, hey, take care of yourself, man.
All right, man.
Don't get depressed.
Dominique had never missed more than 4 games in any season since he joined the Hawks. Just hours before the injury, he'd been named as a reserve for the Eastern Conference in the All-Star game, and now his spot will be taken by Atlanta teammate Kevin Willis. Up next, the Insiders. Peter Vesey and Bob Ferry will join us, but as we head to the break, a look at the Central Division standings with the Bulls running away with it. Bob Ferry and Peter Vesey, the Insiders, are here. We hear talk of a little bit of friction in Detroit. Nothing out of the ordinary, but perhaps of interest. Jack McCloskey, the GM, and Chuck Daly, the coach, not seeing eye to eye?
Well, supposedly there's a feud. McCloskey says it's not that deep. There are differences of opinion, as there is in any organization. But there are a lot of things that they're at odds about.
Like what?
Well, he re-signed Woolridge for 2 more years after next year, which will be 35 then, without consulting the coaching staff. You've got a young center in William Bedford who hasn't improved as quickly as McCloskey would like, and that's a reflection of the coaching staff, supposedly. They've got Ronnie Rothstein hanging around there as a color commentator and a scout, and he's supposedly in line for Daly's job. And the word is that Daly might be leaving after this year when his contract's up to coach San Antonio.
How out of the ordinary is this kind of stuff?
Well, you know, it's a really, it's not out of the ordinary that well. A general manager usually consults his coach as far as future plans for his players, but really the coach is working for the general manager. And in this case here, Chuck Daly every year makes up his mind at the end of the season whether he's going to come back next year or not. Jack McCloskey doesn't know who's for sure is going to coach the Pistons next year. He's got to sometimes just go out on a limb and do what he thinks best for the club. And Woolridge is an asset because the Pistons own him. Chuck Daly really is not. They can't get anything for him.
But I don't think you can make a decision on re-signing a player without at least consulting the coach, because you don't know if Chuck Daly is coming back. For that mere reason, you ask him, assuming he may come back, to try to get the input. If you get in that conversation some indication Chuck Daly isn't coming back, then I think Jack McCloskey is right. But to do that without consulting the coaching staff, I think is wrong.
Just one more thing. McCloskey says he'd love to re-sign Daly. He wants him back, but that Daly's agent does not want to talk until after the season.
I'm sure Phil Jackson's agent would talk with the Bulls because Phil feels he's underpaid.
Right, he definitely would like to talk. He's on the 3rd year of a 4-year deal. He's making $325, which is the 6th lowest in the league, and he wants more money. But, you know, I think what we've got to realize is that a few years ago he was coaching the Albany Patroons and then came in as an assistant with the Bulls, so he really didn't have any bargaining leverage when he came here. And another thing is they haven't redone Michael Jordan here, so this is
a little more difficult to redo him under the salary cap. With Jackson, the guy obviously is underpaid. They could cough up the dough. He deserves it.
Other teams have figured out how to give their superstar more money.
They got Jerry Reinsdorf and guys. The owner is a tough guy. I've worked with him on collective bargaining issues. This guy holds on to the buck pretty good. You would think that he would try to take care of Phil Jackson now. He's not going to do that. He's trying to save money. There's no way. But I don't agree with the way that Reinsdorf is going about it at all.
How about Pat Riley's situation with the Knicks? Now, Peter Vesey had a story in USA Today several days ago about a team meeting, which seemed pretty inspired, that Riley had called, and he separated the guys into cliques. He says, look, you go over here, you go over here. This is the way that you're aligning yourselves socially. It's not conducive to winning basketball. And then after that, they reeled off 3 straight wins.
And then he denied that it happened. But we know Pat, Pat just recently admitted that he was coach of the Knicks.
That's the Hollywood in Pat, staging a big scene in the locker room. But Pat is a great motivator, and Pat looks for every edge that way.
I think he looks for the edge, but I think, as we've talked about before, the one real question that you have to answer as a coach in this league is the confidence factor. And what Pat is trying to avoid is to have his confidence broken by letting the players know that what's said in that room gets out. So what he has done is denied what has happened. And what I think he's doing, he's putting his credibility in jeopardy if what happened has happened, and then he comes out and says it's not the case. If it did happen, admit that it may have happened in some form by saying what we do in that locker room stays in the locker room. I have no comment, but you can't go on one side of the table knowing that it did and say that it didn't.
Not like it's such a terrible thing either, because it made him look good. Right. It was a good tactic and one that he's well suited to pull off. Now, Mike Schuler might not have any team at all to call a meeting with pretty soon with the Clippers, huh?
Well, there's strong rumors out there that Mike's days are ended with the Clippers. The players feel he's too intense, too negative, and I look if something happened before the All-Star break. It could happen today, tomorrow. I think it's on real shaky ground.
You know, the problem with that team is that the players have had too many avenues and outlets to go to the owner, guys in management, the media. They're always blaming it on someone else, which is what happens when teams lose.
All right, we got to stop. And up next, Quinn has the story of Chris Mullin's one and only regular season trip to New York, at least as a basketball player, as NBA Showtime continues. A look at the Warriors All-Star forward Chris Mullin warming up at Madison Square Garden as Golden State prepares to take on the Knicks. For the first 22 years of his life, New York was the place Chris Mullin called home. Mullin is now in his 7th season with the Warriors, and today he makes his only appearance of the season at Madison Square Garden. As Quinn Buckner found out, there will be more than a couple of friendly faces in the crowd.
When God made a basketball player, he just carved Chris Mullin out and just said, this is a player.
Chris Mullin is Larry Bird, only at 6'7", not 6'9".
My high school coach, he approached me one time and said, don't you think you can play in the NBA? And I thought he was crazy.
Mullin for 3. He got another one.
Sometimes it's tough to recognize talent, especially your own. Chris Mullin, now in his 7th season, has become one of the best in the NBA. But to get a better perspective of this 4-time All-Star, you've got to go back to his early days. You've got to go back to the streets of New York.
The way he talks, the way he acts.
I remember going to a few Knicks games and not really being able to sit so close. You know, man, I always wanted to maybe get down to and just touch that floor.
The kid from Brooklyn would have to wait a few years for that chance, but he did become a high school legend. And then it was down the block to St. John's and a trip to the Final Four. He even won a gold medal at the '84 Olympics. But Mullin left a message at the Olympic training site: if the beer is cold, we'll win the gold. 3 years later, Chris had to come to grips with his alcohol addiction, entering a rehabilitation program. I want to go back to a time that had to be, in its own way, a bad time, but also a good time for you. Talk to me a little bit about your alcohol problem.
Well, that, you know, looking back, that's 4 years now. So I can say now is the best thing I ever did in my life. I remember Nelly was right here, and he kind of challenged me. I had come late to practice, I think, or maybe missed practice, I'm not really sure. And he said, I think you got a problem. I think you should take care of it. I really wasn't sure what he meant. I mean, I did know, but I didn't want to know. Right. You know what I mean? I was kind of in denial. And he walked a few steps, and he said, you know what, I'm suspending you. You're suspended.
I saw this wonderful person who was dominated by an addiction. And until he took care of his addiction, you were never going to see this wonderful person come out.
So now my life is structured towards, you know, I take care of myself first, and then everything else falls in place. You know, the basketball is very important to me, and I love it, but I would do fine without it.
Mullin began and still continues one of the strictest conditioning regimens in the league. He finally had his life and his game together. Then a little more than a year ago, he lost his best friend. His father died.
To me, he's still with me, you know, and I feel him. You know, and it's hard to say when and where at certain times. Maybe at night, you know, if I'm out walking my dog, and I just have a feeling that I need to talk to him. And I usually look up in the sky and just, whatever star is shining, that's him.
Well, I got one block here. Well, I got 22.
Chris's mom continues a tradition started by Chris and his father. When the Warriors make their lone trip of the season to play at Madison Square Garden, it means free tickets for family and friends. For today's game, the Mullin contingent is an unbelievable 130 strong.
You know, you play on the road so many times, you know, you just used to getting booed and yelled at and heckled and all that. But in New York, for some reason, it feels like, you know, not that they're rooting for the Warriors, but I got a little back anyway. You know, I mean, I feel pretty comfortable when I go back there.
Now, you did the interview with him after practice, but he went out afterwards, following your talk, and practiced some more on his own, huh?
It's amazing. I mean, he did exactly that, and then I called and talked to his wife, Liz, and this happened about 2 o'clock, so at about 5:30, actually was 5:45, I called and said, is Chris there? And she said, no, he's still out. So he'll come in, he'll eat, and then he'll work out after he eats again. The guy is an amazing gym rat, but I come away from that whole thing, and I sense this Larry Bird comparison in that the guy is really committed to doing what it takes to be a great basketball player.
Of course, they're not alone in that quality around the league. Maybe it's just an easy comparison to make.
No, I don't think so. It's not easy. I believe that this guy with the height difference is very much like Larry in the commitment. And the commitment for players are various, just like anything else. Some guys go at it wholeheartedly with a great deal of effort. Some guys just go after it just trying to get it done. Chris Mullin has a great deal of effort and commitment.
He's 4th in the league now in scoring, 4th in steals. He's averaging just under 27 points, 6 rebounds at 6'7", and 2.5 steals a game. We'll see him next in the first game of our doubleheader, the Warriors and the Knicks. Marv Albert and Steve Jones have the call following these messages from your local station, and Quinn and I will see you at halftime.
This is the NBA on NBC. Today, it's the Golden State Warriors versus the New York Knicks.
Welcome to Madison Square Garden in New York. Capacity crowd, better than 19,000 turning out for the second meeting of the season between the Knicks and the Warriors. The Knicks on top in the Atlantic Division. 5 straight wins for the Knicks, a record of 28-15. They're 2 games in front of the Boston Celtics, while Golden State at 27-13, tied for second in the tightly contested Pacific Division, a game and a half behind Portland. Hi, everybody. I'm Marv Albert, along with Steve Jones. And Steve, 9 days ago out in Oakland, the Knicks, with an impressive performance, beat Golden State. The major reason for the victory, the Warriors just could not stop Patrick Ewing.
They couldn't stop Patrick Ewing from scoring. They double-teamed. They did everything they could, but he was huge. 35 points inside and out, and he dominated the glass with 21 points. And that is a major story. When Ewing plays well, the New York Knicks, they win comfortably.
And it's been a terrific season for Golden State. Once again, Don Nelson has done it with his unconventional style of coaching. And once again, his meal ticket has been Chris Mullin, who is enjoying his best NBA season.
Not a better way to dine. The catalyst is Tim Hardaway, but when the leading scorer is Chris Mullin, they are 17-4. Mullin is the master of the seam. He finds more unconventional ways to get the ball in the hoop. I think he's having his best season so far.
However, the real pressure on Chris was coming up with 130 tickets for today's game for family and friends from this area. Now to a man who is always on the cutting edge of fashion, and today he's going with the sweater vest look under the blazer. Here's Ahmad Rashad.
Thanks, Marv. I guess I take that as a compliment coming from a man who thinks that every time he gets a new tie, he's in fashion. But being here in New York, you always hear about playground legends. Well, there's a legend here playing today from Chicago. It's Tim Hardaway. And when Tim Hardaway came in the NBA, a lot of people didn't know who he was. I asked Michael Jordan about Tim Hardaway. He said, when I was playing for Chicago, I was playing in a summer league game. I scored 60 points. Some little kid from college scored 70 points. It was Tim Hardaway. Well, he won't score 70 points a day, but sit back, relax, because this kid is fun to watch. Marv?
All right, Ahmad, and when we come back, it's a meeting of 2 of the NBA's best, 2 teams that have to be considered among the surprise stories of the season.
Well,
Welcome back to the Garden, where the Knicks have won 16 of 20 here at home, including their first 11 in a row. A look at the lineups. Tim Hardaway and New York City product Mario Elie open in the backcourt for Golden State. Another New York City native, Chris Mullin, up front with the rookie from Syracuse, Billy Owens, and the center for Golden State, #1 draft pick last year, Tyrone Hill. The coach of the Warriors, Don Nelson, he and his staff will handle the Western Conference team of the All-Star game in Orlando next Sunday. A look at the New York Knicks. Mark Jackson and Gerald Wilkins comprise the backcourt. Up front, the X-Man, Xavier McDaniel, had a 28-point game against the Bullets Friday night in Landover. Up front with Charles Oakley and All-Star center Patrick Ewing in his 7th NBA season out of Georgetown. And there is Pat Riley, who has engineered an amazing turnaround, reviving a dead franchise, certainly among the leading candidates for Coach of the Year.
This time they will say he's justifiably earned it, because everyone looked at the Knicks a year ago and said this franchise is going nowhere. You got a bad team, Riley. You're absolutely insane for taking the job. Once again, Riley is smiling.
Is that how you expressed it to your former NBC colleague?
I told him. Yes. You absolutely lost your mind.
Aren't the officials Dick Pavetta, Steve Javy, Joe DeRosa, the 6'9" Tyrone Hill in his second year out of Xavier of Ohio, vying with Patrick Ewing, and the Knicks control the tip. Their last game Friday night at the Cap Center in Landover. That's a travel, and Golden State will take it back. Knicks beat the Bullets in overtime, completing a home-and-home set. Golden State on Friday night in Oakland beat Denver to snap a 3-game losing streak. They had lost to the Lakers in LA at home against Portland in overtime, and to the Knicks last Friday night.
The Warriors like to get this guy out of the box early. Tyrone Hill. He doesn't get many chances to score the ball. Has that one knocked away. Shot clock at 2.
And Mullin had to force it up, so Ewing with the rejection on Hill, who had a good one against the Warriors last week, against the Knicks rather, last week in Oakland, hitting on 6 of 6 from the field. Wilkins using the pick.
The Knicks use a variety of ways to get Ewing down low. They started him out high, ended up with him down on the box, misses, gets another foul.
And Patrick Ewing showing the outside touch for a 2-0 Knick lead. Mario Elie, handled by Ewing. Here's Wilkins in the open floor, and it's a charging foul.
Even though Wilkins charges and he doesn't like the call, the game that the Warriors play is very well suited to getting Gerald Wilkins offensively involved. Mark Jackson out in the open court. You see him come strong into Mullin. They get the turnover.
Gerald Wilkins, with his brother Dominique sidelined by that Achilles tendon injury, said that he is now dedicating the rest of the season to Dominique. And Billy Owens showing that he can hit from the outside. Owens coming off a good one on Friday night, 19 points and 10 rebounds, and playing very well as of late. The game is tied at 2. We're just underway from the Garden in New York. Here's McDaniel, and he's fouled by Elie.
If you know Xavier McDaniel, you know he's going to come in search of a body to spin away from. He has been working on that perimeter jump shot. Paul Silas and he have come out before every ball game, spent an extra time, had a huge ball game against Washington, and wants to get off to a quick start tonight.
Xavier McDaniel, acquired from the Phoenix Suns in the deal for Gerard Mustaf and Trent Tucker, and has been shooting well as of late for the season at 49%, 62% the last 3 games, but he has had a roller coaster year when it comes to playing at home and on the road. He has rarely done it away from the Garden. He has been very strong here in New York. Owens finding the hole, and he'll go to the line. Oakley called for his first, so Billy Owens.
What makes Billy Owens special is that ability with his size to put the ball on the floor and take it to the basket real strong. You saw him unveil something that he hasn't been able to do all year long, consistently knock down that perimeter jump shot. When that goes in, big people have to come out and guard him. That's when he's really dangerous going to the basket.
Billy Owens was picked up in the deal for Mitch Richmond, Les Jepson, and a second-round draft pick right at the start of the season in the deal with Sacramento. It's Golden State with a 4-3 lead. Here's Ewing. And Tim Hardaway comes away with it. Finds Owens. Oh, nice pass. And the foul is called. Ewing going for the rejection. So that will send Tyrone Hill to the line as Ewing collects his first.
What's important for the Knicks is to get back in transition. You see no one comes to Hardaway, which makes it easier for him to find Owens, who in turn finds Tyrone Hill right at the hoop. Ewing, the last line of defense, ends up with the personal foul.
Hill is only a 67% free throw shooter. This is the start of a 4-game, 5-day road trip for the Golden State Warriors, who have been an excellent road team at 13-6. Tomorrow night they play at Orlando, then on to Miami and Charlotte prior to the All-Star break. Golden State with a 6-3 lead. McDaniel had the baseline closed and gets it out to Jackson. Rebounded by Hill. Hardaway with the hesitation dribble. And Oakley on the rebound. Takes it down to Wilkins, who is able to beat Mullen and Hardaway. The Knicks trail 6-5.
It's a nice outlet pass, and when they can get Wilkins out there, he's going to do damage at the offensive end and consistently keep the Knicks in the ball game.
Owens from deep. 3 minutes gone by in the first quarter. Marv Albert, Steve Jones from Madison Square Garden. Xavier McDaniel giving the Knicks a 7-6 lead. Hardaway fires. Jackson wanted a run, but the Warriors get back in a hurry.
The Warriors are a team, Marv, that will force you to outscore them. You got to be able to continue to score the ball. They like to see you shoot quickly from the perimeter. They force teams to make a lot of turnovers, and they do this as well as anybody.
Yes, Tim Hardaway off the steal, able to get down. The Warriors average 11 steals per game. That leads the NBA. Wilkins blocked by Hill. Golden State with a 1-point lead. Mullen brushing off Ewing, but finds Owens. And it's Golden State up now by the score of 10-7.
And the differences in two teams is that the personality of the Warriors is quick, and they want to get you into a quicker game. The Knicks want to slow things down, be more methodical, play with their defense, and force you to make mistakes for them. Quick outlet.
And here's Hardaway on the run. Turning Jackson around. Hill with the tip. And Ewing on the rebound. Now the Knicks with the numbers. Jackson off the spin finds McDaniel. Goes to the fadeaway. Good box out by Hill.
Since Hill has moved into the middle, he's become a better rebounder. See, the Knicks are not stopping the ball. Anytime you're not going to stop penetration, you're going to end up with the team shooting high percentage on you. Owens off to a tremendous start.
Yes, Billy Owens has hit 3 out of 4. He has 8 points. Golden State up 12-7, and Pat Riley taking a timeout with 7:10 remaining in this first quarter. Well, the Knicks with a record of 28-15, the 5th best in the league, are off to an excellent start. But Pat Riley still has some major concerns about his ball club, and we talked about it with him.
I think one of the things about the Knicks that goes south is that we go from a very unselfish team to a very selfish team in the matter of days and games and quarters and minutes and periods. And I think the only way you can ever become consistent that way is to have everybody sincerely get out of themselves and get with whatever the program is, and that's one of the most difficult things to teach players, is to get players to do what they don't want to do in order to achieve what they want. And you got to constantly keep harping on that day in and day out.
Pat also was concerned about cliques that may have developed on this ball club. Peter Vesey had a report in USA Today earlier in the week indicating that the day after the Knicks were blown out by the 76ers a week and a half ago, Riley physically at a team meeting separated players into the cliques that he felt he'd seen them form since back in preseason, and then urged that as Oakley is able to hit to cut it to a three-point Warrior lead, and then urged that the Knicks have to hang together to win, although he would not admit physically separating players at this team meeting. Here's Hardaway, and Oakley with the rebound.
Basketball is a game which requires everyone to submit for the common good, and if you don't, big basket by Wilkins, then your team is going to struggle.
Supposedly, after calling this meeting to order, Pat told players to stand in different parts of the room, signaling each one by name. Hardaway able to break loose and then gets it back out. Here's Hill, and the Warriors now lead at 14-11. So he said Ewing over here, Oakley opposite corner. Kiki Vandeweghe, you go here, and now Brian Quinnett, Tim McCormick, you stand next to Vandeweghe, and so on to make his point. It will be Nick Ball. Crowd has been very quiet to this point. Talk about players not having their legs for an early portion of a game. The crowd not in good voice at this juncture.
I think that the crowd here is concerned about this game. The Warriors have improved their ability to beat teams out on the road. They've been able to stay close and close teams out in the fourth quarter of play.
All right, here's Ewing off the spin. Yes, that's his second field goal. It's Golden State 14 and the Knicks 13. Warriors at 27-13 with the fourth best record in the NBA in a second-place tie. Here's Hill, able to shed Oakley, who took a shot, and it's Golden State leading by 3.
Good news for the Warriors. They've got Owens and Hill off early. Mullen has yet to score. Hardaway has only looked at the hoop a couple of times. Those two guys know they can score. They've got other people involved in the game early.
Wilkins from deep. Nice pass from Oakley. Ewing converting to bring the Knicks within 1. 5 minutes remaining, first quarter. Hardaway, and kept alive by Ellie. Here's Mullen with the open side jump. Oh, you know he knows that spot on the floor very well from his days at St. John's and Redmond of St. John's, working on this court during many practice sessions.
Is there not a spot he doesn't know well out here? He's been in this place many, many times.
Golden State by 3. And it's an offensive foul. McDaniel called for the push.
McDaniel will end up getting more of those kinds of fouls because, as I said, he's a player that goes in search of a body. When he got that ball out on the wing, he went to find Mario Ellie so he could spin away from him. That's his favorite move. Ellie did a good job of drawing the foul.
Tim Hardaway, the master of the crossover dribble, looking to set it up.
Owens looking to go against Ewing. Let's see if he tries to get to the basket.
He goes to the crossover. Jackson and Wilkins in the backcourt. Ewing, Oakley, and McDaniel up front. Just under 4 minutes to go in this first quarter. Ewing, yes. Well, the Knicks are hot. They picked it up. Ewing has 8, and the Knicks now trail 18-17.
That's where you want Ewing shooting. If you're going to have him taking shots, you want him out on the perimeter, but he's knocking them down. And Ewing, when he gets going early, is real tough to shut down through the course of the game.
Mark Jackson picked up on a switch by his one-time St. John's teammate, Chris Mullen. Shot clock at 10.
Mullen daring him to...
Oh, Jackson around Mullen! And he gives the Knicks a 1-point lead. Owens drawing the double coverage. The pass picked off. It's a 2-on-1. Here's Wilkins going all the way, and that's a goaltend. So the basket will count. The Knicks now lead 21-18, and Don Nelson wants a timeout. 3:12 remaining in this first quarter. Here's the move by Jackson, beating Mullen, and now the crowd gets into it. We'll be back right after these messages.
Ahmad Rashad here at Madison Square Garden, where the Knicks are leading the Warriors 21-18 in the first quarter. Now, one of the big stories in the NBA is the turnaround of the Knicks, and the man responsible is with me, Dave Checkers. Dave, what a wonderful job you've done this year.
Well, thank you, Ahmad. It's a long season, though. We're happy with how things are going. We're on a 5-game winning streak, but we got another half to go. I hope we can keep playing well.
The decision to go out and get Pat Riley turned out to be a good one, didn't it?
No question about it. Pat's big enough to do the job in New York and have no one question him, and that's what we needed.
And the players are not questioning either. They like that ring, those rings that he have, and they want them one themselves.
They know he can lead them there, Ahmad, and he's just done a phenomenal job. It's great.
Now, are you still looking for an outside shooter?
We're just looking for ways to get better. But, you know, I like our team. The way we're playing hard. Our chemistry is good. And we'll see. If we get a chance to make ourselves better, of course we'll do it. But we're in no rush to do anything.
All right, Dave. Congratulations and good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right, Marv.
All right, Ahmad. Billy Owens now with 10 points. John Starks, one-time Golden State Warrior, has checked in for the first time along with Anthony Mason. Sharunas Marciulionis on the floor for the first time, misfiring on his initial attempt. It's the Knicks 21 and Golden State 20 with 2.5 to go in this opening quarter. McDaniel getting the roll. He has 5. The Knicks lead by 3.
And the Warriors make you outscore them. In order to stay in a game with the Warriors, you got to have people making baskets. The Knicks have responded, and we'll see if they can keep the penetration down to a minimum. Marciulionis loves to penetrate, takes an outside jump.
And he hurt the Knicks in Oakland 9 days ago. He is so strong, and the Knicks had difficulty handling him. He spent much time on the line. He was at the free throw line 17 times.
He believes that's the game in which he hurt his back, because right after that he woke up, couldn't breathe the next day.
Oh, what a pass from Jackson, and it led to the foul call on Hill. Hill all over McDaniel. Tyrone Hill called for his first. The Warriors with their 4th. And McDaniel to the line.
Penetration always hurts defenses, and you'll see that McDaniel, hiding down on the baseline, was able to get in good position. Jackson finds him, and they get a good opportunity for him. Misses his first free throw.
Well, Xavier McDaniel had the excellent game against the Bullets on Friday night, but he missed the 2 free throws in the final seconds, which would have sealed the victory. He was very upset with himself. In fact, Xavier, always very candid, said after the game, "I choked." You very rarely hear a player say that. Now, as you know, you may think it, but it's rarely said. And assistant coach Paul Silas corrected him. He said, "You did not choke. If there were air balls, it would have been a choke." His second field goal, and the game is tied at 24 with 1.5 minutes remaining in this first quarter.
The Knicks right now have probably their most active and best team out on the floor, with Mason and John Starks, McDaniel, Ewing, and Jackson. And they've got Mason, who's doing an excellent job on the glass. Starks, who scores well, particularly when they leave him and double-team Patrick Ewing. He strikes deep and he strikes often.
And Marciulionis will go to the foul line. Check that. McDaniel to the foul line. Marciulionis called for the foul. Xavier 2 for 4. Now 3 out of 5 from the line. He's a 70% free throw shooter.
The Knicks are an unusual team in that they shoot free throws in streaks, and in closing parts of ball games they all seem to get the yips. They had them the other night against Washington. Stark stepped to the line, missed a couple of them. McDaniel struggling this afternoon.
Well, Steve, they're just a bad foul shooting team. Get yips. They are next to last in free throw shooting. Mullen. And the Warriors lead by 1. Yes, the Knicks were 28 out of 42 from the line against the Bullets the other night. Here's Jackson. Yes. And the Knicks now lead 27 to 26. We're just under 1 minute remaining in this first quarter. Tim Hardaway, played by Mark Jackson. Here is Mullen off the pick. Well, Chris Mullen with his 3rd field goal. He has 6. In the earlier game against the Knicks, Mullen had 30 points, but did not shoot well. Hardaway, though, had a strong second half to bring the Warriors back into it. And the holding foul called on Hill.
Tough assignment for Hill because he's trying to overplay. Thought he had a chance to get the ball, let Ewing go. Looked like he was off balance, and he gets the call against him. Vandeweghe, who's been on a real short leash in the ball game. You see Hill trying to get around in front, but the reason for the play is the strength of Ewing. He cannot control Ewing in front of him, and Ewing was able to get the call.
Crowd responding to the entrance of Kiki Vandeweghe, who was benched for a while. Brian Quinnett had moved ahead of him in the rotation. Patrick Ewing is the number 6 man in scoring in the NBA and headed to the All-Star game as the starting center for the 3rd straight year. And the game is tied at 28. Pat Riley, though, so impressed with the work ethic of Kiki Vandeweghe and very pleased that he did not sulk, although he was not getting the playing time. And he's come on as of late. He's had a couple of good ones.
Kiki can still shoot the ball, and that's one of the things that the Knicks need is a stick from the outside. A Truant, and Vandeweghe still has a great stroke. You just never know how he's going to respond after sitting so long.
Off the steal, 2-on-1. Marciulionis from Hardaway. And Golden State leads 30-28. Final seconds of the first quarter. Here's Starks from downtown. Yes! 2 2/10 seconds remaining of the quarter. So that's the end of the first, ending in dramatic fashion with John Starks firing from deep. Well, back at Madison Square Garden, this is the first part of our NBA doubleheader. Coming up next, Dick Enberg and Mike Fratello will be joined by Magic Johnson as they bring you Michael Jordan and the world champion Chicago Bulls going against James Worthy and the LA Lakers. These two clubs met back in mid-December in Chicago, and the Lakers knocked off the Bulls 102-89. Michael Jordan, an un-Jordan-like performance, only 6 for 20 from the field.
The Lakers were able to slow them down and really surprise everybody when they went into Chicago Stadium and won that ball game.
Bulls shot only 41% for the game. Worthy led the way with 25 for the Lakers. Second quarter underway, and the Knicks lead 31-30 by virtue of that three-pointer with 2 seconds remaining by John Starks. Billy Owens has had the hot hand. He is now 5 for 7 from the field. He has 12, and Golden State leads by 1. The rookie from Nevada, Las Vegas, wearing number 2, Greg Anthony, on the floor for the first time.
Get a kicked ball.
So the Knicks get the new 24. Knicks have a front line of Patrick Ewing with Kiki Vandeweghe and Anthony Mason, Greg Anthony, and John Starks in the backcourt.
With this lineup that the Knicks have out on the floor, Starks and Vandeweghe are going to have to give Ewing some help at the offensive end. Penetration.
Who handles the ball so well, moves it up against Ewing. Now Mason and Ewing on the double team, and that will be no backcourt. He saved it, but Starks looks to take advantage, finds Mason, and he's fouled.
Mistake by Marciulionis. He thought he was going to be able to get it back and threw it right to Starks, and that turned him loose in the open court. But Billy Owens thought he was able to see Marciulionis and lead him the basketball. That's what started Starks out into the open court. They get it to Mason. He's at the line.
Anthony Mason, man who has made the rounds in his 3rd NBA season out of Tennessee State. Short stints with the Nets and Denver. There's Charles Oakley for Patrick Ewing, who sits down with 9 points. Anthony Mason spent time in the CBA, the USBL, even played a season in Turkey, and he has come a long way. He and John Starks, 2 of the big reasons that the Knicks have improved in such dramatic fashion from a year ago. Here's Starks off the dribble, finding Vandeweghe. Yes. The Knicks 34 and Golden State 32.
The pace of the game is in favor of the Warriors. That means that the Knicks are going to have to keep finding people to come off the bench and find the hoops. Mullen
Chris Mullen using the pick, so he now has 8, and the game is tied at 34.
Look at the space that Mullen is giving Greg Anthony.
And away from deep. Mason with the tip. Oakley. Knicks controlling the boards. And Mullen knocks it out of bounds, seeking the steal. Vincent Askew, 3-year player from Memphis State, now checks in.
The Knicks feel that they can beat the Warriors on the glass, and if they control the glass, they'll win the ball game. Oakley wanted that one desperately to get that easy hoop, had to bring it out.
Game tied at 34, 2 minutes gone by in the second. See the Knick advantage off the boards. Vandeweghe got the step. And he stepped out of bounds. So the Warriors take over. But first, a timeout is taken. 9:51 remaining in the second. Well, Don Nelson will be coaching the West All-Stars next Sunday in Orlando. And earlier we asked Don, how does he plan to use Magic Johnson, who will be in the starting lineup?
My belief is that Magic should have as many good days as he can possibly have, because as we know, he's going to have a lot of bad days coming up. And I think he should do really whatever makes him happy. Right now, he feels good, he feels strong and healthy. And I think he should play as much really as he can within some limitations, because I have so many players who deserve to play and want to play.
And for Don Nelson, it will be his first ever All-Star game, with Nelson and Chris Mullen and Tim Hardaway headed to the All-Star Classic. It's the first time that the Warriors have had 3 All-Star game participants since back in 1976. Askew not able to hit, and Vandeweghe gets to it. Back in 76, it was Rick Barry, Phil Smith, Jamal Wilkes. Oh, what a shot by Starks. And the Knicks lead it by 2. Askew getting inside, and the game is tied at 36. Also in 76, Al Attles, who was the Warrior coach, coached the All-Stars. Greg Anthony with his first field goal. His shooting is picked up after a poor start. Marshalonis with a gorgeous pass, and Askew has tied the game at 38. What a pace here in the second quarter. And Pat Riley takes a 20-second timeout.
Riley is telling his team, we got to get back. Whenever you challenge the Golden State Warriors, they're going to come back at you very quickly. Stark showing some strength and control to get his hoop to go in, but you have got to be able to get back. You've seen how quickly they scored. And the Warriors want this kind of pace, and I don't think that the Knicks can hold up for 48 minutes under this kind of withering scoring and running type of game.
Golden State leads the NBA, averaging 118 points per game, so you know that this is the style that Don Nelson desires.
And Nelson, game is draw and kick, and they really haven't gotten into it yet. They're trying to post up Askew down at the other end.
Starks lost his balance. Anthony beating Marshalonis. Yes. Greg Anthony giving the Knicks a 40-38 lead. I wanted to travel on Marshalonis. Owens. Yes, and it counts. Billy Owens continues his onslaught. He now has 14. The foul called on Anthony.
Billy told me before the game he was going to shoot his jump shot today, and he has shot it extremely well here in the first 2 quarters of play. But it is the ball movement, personnel movement of the Warriors that is making it easy for him to get uncontested shots.
Billy Owens has an unorthodox-looking jumper. I asked Don Nelson about it. He said, well, right now he's going to leave it alone. He said, look at Hardaway, the way he shoots the jump shot. And the foul is called. Marshalonis called for his second, and the Warriors with their second team foul.
Marv, technique is great, but results are better, and as long as it's going in, you better leave it alone, and Owens is sizzling.
Knicks are down by 1. Mason posting up, draws a double team. What a move by Anthony Mason. The Knicks 42 and Golden State 41. Here's Ellie. And it's an offensive foul. Anthony drawing the charge. Mario Ellie called for the personal. Mario Ellie out of American International, originally drafted by Don Nelson for Milwaukee in the 7th round in 1985. He's played in Portugal, Argentina, Ireland, Miami of the USBL, Albany in the CBA, had a 10-day contract with the Sixers. Had a shot with the Lakers also before settling in with Golden State. Anthony had that shot deflected by Askew, and the officials check it out. It will be Nick Ball.
One thing that the Warriors game does to players like Greg Anthony and Anthony Mason is give them the sense that they're going to be big-time scorers for the evening. They shoot some balls that sometimes they shouldn't. Anthony on that penetration had that one knocked away.
Knicks lead 42-41. Starks and Anthony at the guards. Oakley is back. He's up front with Mason and Vandeweghe. Marciulionis almost picked it off. Shot clock at 9. Mason lost it. Here comes Hardaway. Has a 3-on-2. Mullen through the foul. The basket counts. What a fake by Mullen. He saw Mason moving in his direction, and now Chris Mullen will go to the line.
Mullen has that ability to find just a sliver of daylight to get a ball off. Got that one up and down. He's also off to a magnificent start here. This is a team that you have to continue to find ways to score against, because they have people that can put the ball on the floor and score it. Not doing well from the line as he normally has been.
Yeah, he's down this year, one of the great free throw shooters of all time. John Starks off to a fast start. He now has 7. Knicks lead by 1. Chris Mullen 88% for his career from the line. Vandeweghe punches it over to Mason, but Mullen down to 83% at the foul line this season. Hardaway got a piece of it. And now with the... No, he couldn't hold on. Anthony gets it back. And here's Starks from downtown. Yes! John Starks once again hits the 3. And the Knicks lead 47-43. Don Nelson calling for time. Welcome back to Madison Square Garden. Marv Albert, Steve Jones, 6:42 to go in the second. And it's the Knicks over Golden State by 4.
You know, whenever you play the Golden State Warriors, you have to get back. And you see all of these New York Knicks in this circle right here. None of them back in the paint. And when you don't get back, the Warriors will challenge you at the hoop. You see it going right on through there, and they get an easy score on the other side. So the Knicks have to do a better job of getting back. Otherwise, they'll find themselves in trouble all night long, all afternoon long.
You may be still on West Coast. No, that one. Chris Mullen with 10 points. Billy Owens, the high man, with 15. The Knicks led by John Starks, a one-time Golden State Warriors. Hit 2 from downtown. He has 10 points in all. Patrick Ewing back on the floor. He has 9. Now Owens looking to put the move on Vandeweghe. They isolate Owens. Shot clock at 4. Here's Hardaway for 3. Yes! Oh, Tim Hardaway from long range and beyond brings the Warriors within 1. Golden State has hit 7 of 9 from the field here in the second. You know Starks is looking for his shots.
Starks has trouble when he has to shoot the jump shot off the dribble. When he's squared up and has time, he's going to knock that shot down.
Mullen slithering in. Had it deflected. Owens is stopped by Ewing. Indicating a clean block. No travel.
Marciulionis wants a chance to penetrate against Vandeweghe. Let's see if they clear out and give him enough room.
Ewing looking for help. He's matched now with the rookie Victor Alexander. Marciulionis. And we get the whistle for the foul against the Knicks.
For Marciulionis, the idea is to drive, and he's like a bull in a China shop. He's an extremely strong player, and you've got to overplay that left hand if you're going to have any success against him. They don't. He gets into the rim, but they don't give him a chance to get to the line.
Mark Jackson is back. Greg Anthony, who committed that foul, sits down. Anthony leaves with 4 points. 5.5 remaining. in the first half. The Knicks lead by 1. Owens with the head fake and called for the offensive foul, looking to put the move on Mason. The Knicks now with Jackson, Starks, and Wilkins in a 3-guard alignment.
Great post-up position, but the reason for the foul, the hook, the arm goes out. Billy Owens picks up the first one.
Sensational first half for Owens. 15 points, 7 rebounds. And again, Jackson is being guarded by Mullen. Ewing working against Alexander. Yes. Victor Alexander, a rookie from Iowa State, one of 3 first-round draft picks for the Golden State Warriors, had all kinds of difficulty with Ewing in their earlier meeting in Oakland. Mark Malonis getting inside, and that will count. That's a goaltend on Ewing, who does not agree with the call.
Starks tries to overplay the left hand. Mark Malonis comes quickly back the other way. Ewing gets a piece of it, and it's a goaltend.
So the Knicks lead it 49-48. Starks out for Mason. Down to 8 on the shot clock. Ewing feeling for Alexander. 2 on the 24. Open shot for Starks. It's another 3. He just hit beat the 24. That's his 3rd from downtown. He has 13. The Knicks lead 52-48.
That has been the big weapon for Riley. Whenever they double team and they've left him squared up, he's knocked the shot down this afternoon.
Mullen able to penetrate. Mullen on the rebound. And Ewing gets to it. Hardaway with a steal, but he's called for a reach-in. The call applauded by Mark Jackson. The first committed by All-Star Tim Hardaway. Tim Hardaway, in fact, the youngest player in the All-Star game once again this season. At age 25, he's 2 months younger than Dikembe Mutombo of Denver. Knicks have a 4-point lead now. Owens is guarding Starks. Mullen helping out on Ewing.
They want to force Jackson to shoot the ball from the perimeter.
Oh, what a rebound by Mason, and he draws the foul.
What's impressive about Mason is that upper body. You can eat off that chest.
I never thought of it quite that way.
He's got that big, broad upper torso. Billy Owens having a tough time controlling him on the glass. They reach in. He's on the line.
Marciulionis called for the foul, his 3rd. Knicks only 5 out of 10 from the line. Vincent Askew is back. And Billy Owens departs with 15. Vincent Askew, one of several members of the Warriors who has done his time in the CBA. I mentioned earlier, the Knicks next to last in foul shooting. Knicks extend to a 6-point lead. Hardaway with the step, and he got it over the outstretched arm of Patrick Ewing. Knicks on the transition. Starts from Jackson. Mark Jackson going behind the back. Now that's one of those behind-the-back passes that was necessary along the lines of the type of passes that Bob Cousy would throw. Alexander able to hit. In the past, Mark Jackson has been accused, and understandably so, little hot dog moves, but not in that instance. And he has really tamed his game down, which has contributed to his fine all-around play. Gerald Wilkins with 8 points. The Knicks lead by 6.
You have seen the Knicks play many times. Have you seen them shoot the ball this well for a half?
Now, this is one of their better shooting performances. They're 57% from the field. Hardaway for 3. Yes! So both clubs firing from long range and connecting. That's his 2nd 3-point field goal. And the Knicks lead it 58-55.
And the point is, with the Warriors, no lead is safe. They will continue to shoot the ball. They will open the court up. They invite you to score with them. And if you can't, they will, and they'll get an edge.
Patrick Ewing has 13. The Knicks 60 and Golden State 55. And one has developed into a shootout here at the Garden. Just under 2 minutes remaining. First half. That's an offensive foul. And that is number 4 on Marciulionis. Golden State taking a timeout. It's the Knicks by 5 with a minute and 58 to go in the first half.
Okay, Bob Costas in New York. Coming up on the Prudential Halftime Report, we'll take a look at the Chicago Bulls, who take on the Lakers in the second half of our doubleheader here on NBC. We'll hear Quinn Buckner's comments on the first half of the Warriors-Knicks game, and we'll check the NBA scoreboard. There are other games going on right now. Now we'll head back to the Garden and rejoin Marv Albert and Steve Snapper Jones.
Thank you, Bob. Both clubs shooting well in this first half. Just under 2 minutes remaining, and the Knicks lead by 5.
Marciulionis is having a tough time getting into this ball game today. Starks did a real good job that time of getting on that left hand, picked up the charge. He's got to sit down with 4 personals.
So Sharunas departs. He provided all kinds of problems in that earlier game in Oakland. Starks tipped home by Ewing. The Knicks lead it 62-55. Patrick Ewing with 15 points.
They say that offense doesn't count, but you see that Jonathan Starks is doing everything well. He's shooting that ball well. He's very active. And when players are scoring, they seem to get involved at the defensive end. They're willing to pass the ball, do all the other things.
Askew. Hill able to keep it alive. Tyrone Hill. And the Knicks now lead 62-57. Coming up on 1 minute remaining in the first half. Bob Costas, Quinn Buckner will be along at halftime. And they'll take a close-up look at the Chicago Bulls, who will go up against the Los Angeles Lakers in the second part of our NBA doubleheader. Hardaway attempts the 3, and the Knicks on the run. Starks with the pull-up. Yes. John Starks on fire. 7 for 11 in this first half. He has 17. He had not been shooting well the last couple of games after an excellent run. Here's Askew working his way in, and he was hacked by Mason.
14 points for Jonathan Starks, but as quickly as he got his deuce, Askew and the Warriors are back at the other end with penetration, and they pick up the personal foul on Anthony Mason. And again, that is going to be a problem for the Knicks all afternoon long, is making sure that they get people back deep enough into the paint so they can stop the penetration.
Xavier McDaniel reporting back, replacing Anthony Mason. Leads with 5 points, 2 personal fouls. Vincent Askew at the line, originally a second-round pick of Philadelphia, played 14 games with the 76ers, then on to Italy, the WBL, the CBA, 2-time most valuable player in the CBA. By way of Memphis State, Jackson works his way in. Mullen with the rebound. 25 seconds to go in this first half. Hardaway with a gorgeous move, stopped by Wilkins. Pat Riley says hold for 1. Knicks lead by 5, and they'll work the clock down. 10 seconds to go, and the Knicks are hearing it from the Garden crowd. Down to 5. Ewing from deep. Jackson. Yes. Oh, a spectacular move by Mark Jackson. 0.5 of a second to go. Here's Ellie from beyond center court. Well, the New York Knicks shot 57% from the field. The Warriors didn't do badly at 52%. And at halftime, it's the Knicks 66, Golden State 59.
The Bulls, the Lakers, a rematch of last year's NBA Finals with special game analyst Magic Johnson. The NBA on NBC next.
This is the Prudential Halftime Report, brought to you by Prudential. Come to the companies of the Prudential and build your future on the rock.
Halftime at Madison Square Garden, Knicks leading the Warriors by the score of 66-59. Bob Costas along with Quinn Buckner. Now, a week ago at Golden State, they just pounded the Warriors on the boards. Huge rebounding differential, beat them that way. Here, the pace is Golden State's pace. It's Don Nelson's tempo, but the Knicks are winning by 7, beating them at their own game at this point.
But I think that's a problem for the Knicks because Patrick Ewing, for example, has 15 points, but he's taken 6 jump shots. Now, if he takes jump shots, he has no chance to get in there and rebound. That's a major problem for them. As long as you get into the up and down game, you've got to rebound. And the other thing I don't think the Knicks are doing very well, they're not getting back very well defensively. I've noticed a couple times they're running in the center of the court where you need to spread out and stop the ball. They haven't done it enough, and they're really not doing the job they do defensively.
You know, you're right. Ewing has 6 jumpers and a tip among 7 field goals, and yet the Knicks have a 14-2 second shot edge.
Well, that's where the height advantage is something I think the Knicks need to exploit. As long as they're shooting jump shots, that is exactly what you want to see if you're Golden State. Golden State, on the other hand, has a team that wants to get up and down the court. They have Chris Mullin that can move it up and down the court. You know, and Tim Hardaway is a player that I really like. He's a tough player. He makes a lot of good things happen. What I like about it is his strength, but he's got tremendous courage. And you can see he just blows by Gerald Wilkins there. And that's the kind of thing he's capable of doing repeatedly. And that's the thing that's made him an all-star.
Hardaway had 12 in the first half. Billy Owens had 15 and Mullin 10 for Golden State. Ewing's 15 matched by John Stark's 15 for the Knicks, 66-59 New York. Couple of other games in progress. Washington has the lead over Orlando. The score in this one is 41-33. It is in the second quarter. Landover and Minnesota and Cleveland are in the first quarter, and this one is tied up at 18 apiece, the Timberwolves and the Cavaliers. The second half of our doubleheader has the Bulls against the Lakers, the first visit back to the Forum for Michael Jordan and his mates since they won the NBA title there last June. Up next, we'll take a look at the blistering pace the Bulls are on as we continue on the Prudential Halftime Report. Stay with us. Okay, coming up after the Warriors and Knicks on NBC, we have a good one from Los Angeles. The Bulls visiting the Lakers. There's been a lot of talk around the NBA about the way the Bulls have been playing. Right now, they're 38-7, even after dropping 2 out of 3 in Texas. Quinn Buckner picks up the story of the NBA's current juggernaut. Here it is.
Last June, they celebrated the championship. The sweet taste of that triumph continued to ignite the Bulls the first half of this season as Chicago rode a wave of playoff momentum to a blazing start.
What a way to start the season.
You know, the continuity and chemistry came very early for this team because we finished the season so late last year, and it seemed like we just walked right in and picked up where we left off.
20 years ago, the Lakers also got out of the gate fast, finishing the season with an NBA record 69 wins. Pat Riley was a backup guard on that team.
It's too early right now. Wait for this road trip to get over with, and then give them, I would say about March the 1st, you can get a pretty good idea. If they've got 7 or 8 losses, then they got an excellent shot at it.
But the only excellent shot Chicago took all last week was on the chin, as the Bulls were served up as the main course in a Texas-style barbecue, much to the delight of hungry opposition anxious to devour the world champs.
Each night we go out, the team we're playing is really out to get us, and they probably play at an emotional level that's higher than when they play other teams.
While more than satisfied with their stunning half-season pace, a 70-win season has never been high on the Bulls' priority list, not even for Coach Phil Jackson, who battled the record-setting Lakers as a New York Knick 2 decades ago.
That's a moonshot. It's a rocket launch, and if we can reach it, it'd be wonderful to do, but we're certainly not going to try to attain that as a goal.
I'm not worried about winning 70. I'm worried about having home court advantage to the playoffs and getting our chance to go back to the championship round.
Although Chicago's schedule after the All-Star break is favorably loaded with sub-500 teams, the Bulls aren't bullish on their chances.
You know, to be realistic, it probably have to be impossible for us to have as good a record the second half we had the first half because teams are playing better now, and they're going to scout us, and they're going to find ways to beat us.
You know, we got to this point by taking it game by game, and we're not going to change our strategy at all. And you know, if we get to the point where we got 65 wins and you know we clinch a division championship, and that's when you start to focus in on 70.
I don't think it's possible. I want to say we could do it, but it's just too tough.
I don't think it's possible that any team in our day and age will do it.
not taking anything away from the league in the past, but right now the athletes are much quicker and faster, and you know, realistically, I don't think we have a chance.
Well, let me stand up for some of the old-timers. Yeah, the athletes generally are better, the overall caliber of basketball better, but the league was smaller back in the days when Chamberlain played for the 67 76ers or the 72 Lakers, who had the two best overall season records in the history of the league. And just as a point of comparison, these Bulls are 38-7. The 72 Lakers were 40-5 and then cooled off a little bit. The 67 76ers were 41-4 to the same point, and eventually were 45-4, and even they cooled off and lost 13 games.
Well, I think the Bulls are going about it in absolutely the right way. First of all, they got off to this great start, and even Michael said, you know, things seem to gel, but they know going to the second half of the season that their teams are playing better, they're going to come out much harder. I wouldn't be concerned about 70 wins. The only thing that matters is you maintain your home court advantage when you're going for the championship, and I think the players have also stated very emphatically they don't think they have a chance, and if you don't believe it, I don't think you can get it done.
It's not going to happen. Here's what's left on the road trip, by the way. They lost in San Antonio and in Houston. They won in Dallas, as just about everybody does these days. The Lakers later today, second half of our doubleheader. Then on to Utah, where the Jazz recently had a 17-game home winning streak snapped by the Knicks, and Phoenix now has won 17 in a row on their home floor. Tough trip.
Well, you're playing two of the toughest teams in the Western Conference. You know, Utah and Portland are definitely going to vie for that championship, and Phoenix is starting to inch itself back into pretty good contention. So it's a tough trip, and that's why the Laker game for the Bulls today, they need to get, because those other two games, they're not assured of getting.
Okay, and up next, we'll return to Marv Albert and the Snappers, Steve Jones at Madison Square Garden. Second half action, Warriors and Knicks, right after these messages from your local station.
This has been the Prudential Halftime Report, brought to you by Prudential. Come to the companies of the Prudential and build your future on the rock.
Well, the Knicks matching their biggest lead of the game, 66-59 the score at halftime here at Madison Square Garden. Marv Albert, Steve Jones, Ahmad Rashad. You know, not one person has asked about Bazaar, the telestrator, Mike Fratello. Not one inquiry, but he'll be along for the second game of the doubleheader, along with Dick Enberg and Magic Johnson. What a sensational shooting first half for both teams.
Hot hand, that's what it is called, and we have seen Billy Owens with it, 6 of 9. They said he didn't have a jump shot, but he came to Madison Square Garden to disprove that, and he has knocked down all kind of perimeter shots. That's opened up the play for him inside as well, but he has been wonderful. John Starks off the bench, 7 of 11, and he has struck from long distance. This is a kind of game with his athleticism and his ability to shoot the jump shot uncontested. It has really told a big story. He's given the Knicks a big lift, and off the bench, they have outscored the Golden State Warriors.
John Starks has hit 3 from downtown, and he leads the way with 17 points. Knicks by 7 as we head to the third. It's the New York Knicks over the Golden State Warriors by the score of 66-59 as we get set for the third quarter. Moments ago, Ahmad talked with Golden State coach Don Nelson.
All right, Coach, you're down by 7 at halftime. Been doing a lot of double teaming, but John Starks has been on fire the first half.
Well, we're overrunning Starks really on our rotations, and what we should be doing, because he's the best shooter out there, is to be finding him first and worry about the other guys second.
What about the offensive rebounding by the Knicks?
Well, we're going to get hurt on the boards because we're a small team. I expect to have that happen. What we're going to have to do really, Ahmad, is we're going to have to make Ewing play somebody. He's floating around defensively. When he double teams, he's not staying in the double team. Now it's our responsibility to find a slot which is open. If I can get my centers to find that slot, I told them where it is, but they've seemed to overrun that too.
All right, Coach. Good luck to you in the second half.
All right, Ahmad. Well, Don Nelson obviously has some adjustments in mind.
He does have some in mind. What is in his favor is the fact that the pace of the game is a high-scoring one. That does not favor the New York Knicks. You can see that defensively, someone's going to have to make a stand here.
This is Tyrone Hill. He's up front with Billy Owens and Chris Mullin. And so Billy Owens continues the good strokes, 7 for 10. He has 17 points. The Knicks with a 66-61 lead. Knicks opening with Jackson and Wilkins at the guards. Ewing up front with McDaniel and Oakley. Wilkins Rebounded by Hill. Hardaway with the lead pass, slightly off the mark, and Mario Ellie could not convert.
Ellie is the only one of the offensive small players that hasn't gotten untracked so far. Hasn't yet to get a field goal. This is McDaniel's spot.
Yes, it is. Xavier McDaniel providing a 7-point Nick lead. Oakley in the face of Dick Pavetta to dispute that call. Pavetta gave him a look as if to say, I can't believe you're even disputing that, as the ball was knocked out of bounds. Hardaway with the snap, and he is fouled. Tim Hardaway off the acceleration through the foul. Charles Oakley committing his second.
The NBA's version of the road runner, and he can go to the glass anytime he wants, and he knows that there's nobody that can stop him. He blew right by Jackson. Ewing didn't get there in time.
Hardaway with 9 assists in the first half. He is the number 3 man in the NBA. Make that second rank now. At the update from last night's stats. Right behind John Stockton.
Hardaway's got a tremendous heart. He is a competitor. He will do whatever it takes to win a ball game. You can look for him to step up here in the second half.
Wilkins bottled up. Hardaway on a 3-on-2. Ellie. Mario Ellie will go to the foul line.
They always talk about the Warriors being an undersized team, and they don't get it done on the board, but they do it with steals. They force turnovers from their opponents.
And they're calling it a flagrant foul on McDaniel. So 2 shots plus possession.
That is a huge call, considering the type of play. He was trying to make a play on the basketball. Looked like a good play for him. Elliott gets the whistle, gets 2 free throws. Now they'll get possession. Right here, McDaniel goes for the ball. He's not going just through, but he does get a piece of the chest of Mario Elliott.
Now the Warriors with possession. They're down by 3. Minute 40 gone by in the third. Jackson nearly picked it off. Ewing with the steal, but throws it away. And the Warriors try to take advantage. Knicks did not get back. Wilkins stripped Hill. And Mark Jackson regroups. Knicks swinging the ball effectively. Wilkins. Nicely done. Oakley with the lead for Wilkins. Knicks 70, Golden State 65. Here's Mullen. Owens able to get to it. And he's fouled by Ewing. Patrick Ewing called for his second.
Owens with 2 taps, a la Dennis Rodman, to stay after that ball. Didn't quit on the play. Realized he had him beat. Came right into Ewing. Back on the line.
Billy Owens, the Big East Player of the Year last season. 3rd overall pick in the draft behind Larry Johnson and Kenny Anderson. And Don Nelson says Billy Owens is a future All-Star.
The complete package. In the last 7 games, his numbers have really picked up. He is the leading rebounder for the Warriors on the year. His scoring has really come to the front, and we've seen it this afternoon. He brings the Warriors within 3.
Billy Owens has 19. 2.5 gone by in the third. Ewing being fronted effectively by Hill. Oakley lost it. Ewing comes up hobbling. Fast break for the Warriors, and Owens finishes it off in spectacular fashion. The Knicks now lead 70-69. Apparently Ewing is okay. Continues his battle with Hill.
Quick hands of the Warriors stripping the ball inside, so they're going to have to do a little bit of better ball handling deep in the post.
Loose ball foul against Golden State. It's on Hill.
The Warriors finished the break very well with Billy Owens showing the ability to go use the rim, the left hand. He's had a sensational game.
Golden State in the midst of an 8-2 run to move within 1. Knicks led by 7 at the half. They continue to double up on Ewing. Jackson and Owens. It will be Nick Ball with 8 on the 24. Owens by Billy Owens.
Owens is taking over the game right now with a big defensive play on the penetration of Jackson. Gets a piece of that inside.
And Jackson off the inbounds, giving the Knicks a 72-69 lead. 8 points to Mark Jackson, along with 9 assists. Mullen. And he was hit by Wilkins. Basketball count. That's the second for Gerald Wilkins. Knicks with their 4th team foul. Golden State with only 1. And here is Mullen to the line. He is 0 for 1 from the line. As we started to discuss earlier, Steve, 88% from the line for his career. That is the 5th best all time.
He's having a tremendous season. The percentage from the field, his numbers close to 27. They can't get it done from the line. He's had to. Now this is the guy with the yips. Okay, the other team is bad. He's got the yips.
He's down to 83% at the line this season. Knicks lead by 2. Here's Wilkins. Knicks shooting has gone the other way in this 3rd quarter. Mullen from Hardaway. Chris Mullen did well in getting off that good scoop shot.
That's a gift of Mullen, to be able to create a shot in the air like that.
Xavier McDaniel has 11. It's the Knicks 74, Warriors 70. Hardaway with the rebound and the bucket. What a play by Tim Hardaway, who maybe goes 6 feet, 175 pounds.
It's a hard 6 feet, 175.
McDaniel fouled by Ellie. So Mario Ellie is called for his 3rd. And now here's the man with the hot hand, John Starks, checking back in.
Transition. And the Warriors beat the Knicks in transition, which allows Hardaway to slide into the seam, get that long miss from Mullen, put it back up.
Tim Hardaway has been called in some circles as a smaller version of the 76ers Charles Barkley because of the impact that he has on the game. Although, in talking with Tim last night, I'm not sure he buys it.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of things Tim doesn't buy, but he's the same kind of player. Unconventional for his size, with his speed, his quickness, and his strength. Barkley, unconventional with his size, speed, and quickness, and they dominate their position.
The Knicks 75 and the Warriors 72. It's been a slow start for Chris Mullen, only 5 for 13. He's missed his last 7. Hardaway again. 18 for Hardaway. The Knicks lead now by 1. 5 minutes and change gone by in the 3rd. Starks guarded by Hardaway.
Under pressure, we'll find out whether Starks can continue to knock down shots.
McDaniel is fouled. Nick Pivetta with the call on Owens, his 2nd, and the Knicks take a timeout.
Michael and the Bulls battle the Lakers next on NBC.
Minute 35 remaining in the 3rd. Golden State now leading the Knicks by 3. A sensational 3rd quarter for Tim Hardaway. 6 for 7 from the field here in the 3rd. 14 of his 26 points in the 3rd quarter. Hardaway with 26 points and 10 assists. Although it was back on the 27th of December against the Minnesota Timberwolves that Tim Hardaway set a new NBA record by going 0 for 17 from the floor. 0 for the game, and we talked about it with Tim.
No, I don't have nightmares about that game because we won that game. If we had lost that game, I would have been having a lot of nightmares about it. But we won the game. Sometimes you're not gonna make shots. I know I went 0 for 17. I thought I had made one basket, but I didn't. So new record holder for 0 for whatever, and that's just gonna stay with me until somebody break it. I just have to deal with it.
Tim Hardaway with the 0 for 17 in late December. Hardaway just picked off that pass and again is able to convert. It's the Tim Hardaway show here at Madison Square Garden. He now has 28 points, and the Warriors have opened up a 5-point lead. Greg Anthony has come on for the first time in the second half. So Anthony, Starks, and Wilkins now go in a 3-guard setup.
Remember, I said that you have to continue to score the ball with them, and they have put a withering scoring pace on the Knicks. They've both got to be at 120 at this rate. The Knicks can't stand that.
Here's Mullen, and he was hacked by Wilkins. For Gerald, his third. Chris Mullen is having a very long afternoon back in his hometown. He's 5 for 16. He's missed his last 10. He had that 30-point game in the earlier meeting with the Knicks out in Oakland, but did not shoot well, was not hitting the outside shot. And Steve, in the past, he has killed the Knicks and continues to struggle up the line. He's now 3 for 6 from the foul line.
He's having a tough time getting the ball where he wants, and at the line he's beginning to think more than he normally does. He's got a routine that he goes through, and he's taking that little bit of extra time that's throwing him off.
Chris Mullen, a man who has made it back dramatically from alcohol problems several years ago. He has reached new heights. Last year averaged just under 26, having his best NBA season this year. Mason rejected by Hill. It will be Nick Ball. 35 seconds to go in the third.
Warriors go for wall-to-wall pressure, and they try to get Mason at the basket. Hardaway saying the ball was blocked, but he shot it out of bounds. Hardaway was right.
Golden State with a 4-point lead. Shot clock at 10. Ewing lost it. Recovered by Mason. Golden State 89. The Knicks 87. Hardaway calling out a play as he winds it down here in the third.
Anthony has stepped up and really trying to challenge Hardaway right here. Hardaway is saying, you want some of this? I'll give you a taste of what this Texas two-step is all about.
You saw the crossover. Beautiful setup for Hill. Tim Hardaway for Tyrone Hill. Final seconds of the third. Anthony out of control. Look out. The ball is deflected out.
A save by you. You'll see Hardaway come down the middle, make Ewing react. That leaves Hill open. And it's that quickness and penetrating ability, plus the ability to find someone off the dribble.
1 3/10 seconds remaining. Good play by Hill to break up the pass play. After 3 at Madison Square Garden. Golden State coming on strong in the third. Sparked by Tim Hardaway. And they lead the Knicks by the score 91-87. It was a Tim Hardaway festival in the third quarter. 16 of his 28 points coming in the third. He was all over the court, hit 7 of 8 from the floor. He also has 11 assists as he led the Golden State Warriors to a 32-21 advantage. As a result, the Knicks now trail by 4 as we head to the fourth. The Knicks led by 7 at the half.
The Knicks have broke down in scoring the basketball, which is critical. The Warriors defense tightened up, forced some turnovers, and as you said, it was the Hardaway show. They've got to find a way to score and now shut down Hardaway.
Anthony's shot misfired. Starks able to rescue, knocked out of bounds by Hill. Pat Riley opening with the 3 guards, Starks, Anthony, and Wilkins, along with Ewing and Mason up front.
In Oakland, they did not worry about matching up, but this afternoon they have gotten very concerned about the quickness, the ability of the Golden State Warriors to put the ball on the floor, kick, and make something happen.
Ewing. And the Knicks maintain possession. Also in that earlier game out of the Bay Area, the Warriors' scrambling defense bothered the Knicks. They have a way, despite the fact the defensive record does not look good, and that is not a true indication because they're involved in so many high-scoring games, they have a way of disrupting ball plays. Mullen with the rebound. Warriors lead 91-87.
Mullen is the guy to look to get going here in the fourth. He makes the shot, but they have it taken away. Tyrone Hill on the screen.
It is a blocking foul on Hill, so 4 on Hill. It's a difficult one for Chris Mullen. He misses 10 in a row. He finally hits, and he loses it because of the offensive foul.
But for him, that miss means the start of something good and bad news for the Knicks.
Anthony able to swing it to Wilkins. Knicks shooting has been off in the second half, and a loose ball foul charge against the Knicks. Here's Charles Oakley making his return, replacing Gerald Wilkins. The foul committed by Wilkins, his 4th.
Look at the front line of the Knicks. Oakley, Mason, Ewing. Not good passing up on that front line, so they're going to try to dominate the glass. They're going to try to slow the game down. Look for the Warriors to continue to try to isolate and then penetrate, kick the ball back out.
Marshallonis out of Lithuania goes to the left-hand dribble, finding Mullen. He's missed 11 in a row. Starks. Mullen on a pull-up. Yes. Chris Mullen has 16 points, but he's only 6 of 18. Golden State by 6. The crowd urging the Knicks on. They've gone cold. Mason facing a double team.
See, the only passes that they can make are the obvious ones. That back out. Starks had a good look at that one. Couldn't knock it down.
It will be New York ball. The Knicks have now missed their last 7 shot attempts. And a timeout is called by Pat Riley with 9:49 to go in the 4th quarter.
Michael and the Bulls battle the Lakers next on NBC.
Next Sunday here on NBC, you will see the NBA All-Star Game from Orlando with coverage beginning at 3 p.m. Eastern Time with NBA Showtime, hosted by Bob Costas and Quinn Buckner. That's next Sunday here on NBC. The Knicks to be represented by Patrick Ewing. The Warriors by Chris Mullen, Tim Hardaway. That man, Don Nelson, will be coaching the Western Conference All-Stars. The Golden State Warriors, red-hot item in the Bay Area. They have sold out 124 consecutive games. Last week's local San Francisco telecast of the Knicks Golden State game attracted the highest regular season rating in the history of the team, a 17% share of the Bay Area television audience. Very impressive number despite the peculiar style of the play-by-play man, Steve Albert. Hit off the steal. Steve working with Jim Barnett. Owens providing a 95-87 lead for Golden State. Jim Barnett, a man who undoubtedly has much patience. 3 minutes gone by in the 4th quarter. Here's Vandeweghe just checked back in off the bench and able to bury the corner jump. Warriors 95, Knicks 89. Mullen is being guarded by Vandeweghe.
Riley realizes he needs some firepower in there right now. Owens with a good fake, thought he was going to get a whistle, got the basket instead.
Billy Owens with 25 points, and the Warriors now lead 97-89.
They need Anthony to try to find penetration, not to be pulling up and be shooting over the top of the defense. That plays right into the hands of the Warriors.
And Mullen uncontested. Now, Greg Anthony is not known for his shooting, although he's had a couple of good ones recently. And the Warriors able to take advantage and now lead by 10. The Knicks call for time.
The score with the Knicks down by 10, as they have found themselves to be a streaky perimeter team. This time, no passes, a quick shot from the outside. Ewing trying to get to the ball, but has it stripped away by Hardaway. Mullen solo for an easy two. Pat Riley calls a timeout. He's going to demand they move the ball. They try to attack the rim, make the Warriors play some defense, and then get back.
Well, the major flaw on this Knicks club is the lack of outside shooting, and we are seeing it here this afternoon. Knicks are now 1 for 9 from the floor in the fourth quarter. And a loose ball foul called on Owens. That is his third. Billy Owens with 25 points this afternoon. That is a career high. Xavier McDaniel is back, replacing Charles Oakley. And the big three of Golden State, led today by Hardaway and Owens. Chris Mullen has been on the low-key side to this point. Vandeweghe cuts it to an 8-point Golden State lead.
They have several big threes, those Warriors. Marciulionis is in there somewhere, and he hasn't had a chance to get on track today.
Marciulionis battling his way and then gave it off. Basket won't count. And a blocking foul charged to Kiki Vandeweghe. That is a very difficult matchup for Vandeweghe, going against the power of Sarunas Marciulionis.
He is just a bull. Vandeweghe tried to give ground and didn't. If you're going to play him, you got to get up on him real tight, try to force him to his right. That's what Starks did.
Jackson off the steal by Starks, spins his way in, and is deflected out of bounds. Last touch by Tyrone Hill of the Warriors. So the Knicks have it with 18 on the shot clock. 7:45 remaining in the fourth quarter. The Knicks down by 8. They led by 7 at the half.
Penetration will be the key for the Knicks in getting back. We haven't seen Starks left uncovered. He knocked that one down.
John Starks with his first basket of the second half. He had 17 at halftime, and the Knicks are now down by 6. Owens played by McDaniel. Owens with the one-on-one move, stripped by Starks. Starks all the way, stopped by Marciulionis. Owens finding Marciulionis at the other end. Billy Owens at 6'9", handles the ball so well. Golden State 101. The Knicks 93. Vandeweghe back for Jackson. Here is Starks looking for the three. McDaniel gets it back out. Jackson, yes. Warriors 101. Knicks 95. Hardaway setting it against Jackson. Mullen trying to work off the pick. Shot clock at 3. Down to 1. Marciulionis. Yes. He beat the 24-second clock. He's hit 5 out of 6. 10 points for Sarunas Marciulionis in foul trouble throughout the first half. And he has come on to provide a lift for the Warriors.
Even when the Knicks have a good defensive stand, and the last time they had them going against the clock, they're still able to get the ball up and down.
That's 2-point range. So Kiki Vandeweghe cuts it to a 6-point Golden State lead. Vandeweghe has connected on 4 of 6. He has 8 points. 5:45 to go in the fourth quarter.
They're going to come back with the same set and use Owens to find Mullen. Mullen can't get going.
Chris Mullen 7 for 20. Jackson stripped, recovers, Starks for 3, rebounded by Hill. Mullen on the run, cut off by Starks. Owens is there. Billy Owens has 27. Golden State 105 and the Knicks 97. New York Knicks at 28-15 on top of the Atlantic by 2 games in front of the Celtics. Last night the Celtics losing to the 76ers.
They have taken Patrick Ewing out of the game as they have forced the Knicks to become a team that's gone away from their strengths. They have not dropped the ball inside to Ewing. They're playing outside. They're trying to create some plays with players that are not comfortable doing so, and the Warriors have control of the scoreboard and the tempo of the game.
Victor Alexander is back, replacing Tyrone Hill. McDaniel with one on the 24. Starks followed up by Hardaway. McDaniel is stopped by Owens. Crowd booing the shot selection of Xavier McDaniel. He's being backed. Owens. Ewing with the rebound. Knicks are down by 8. They have the numbers. Jackson from Vanderbilt. Warriors 105. The Knicks 99. We come up on 4 minutes to go. In the fourth quarter, Marv Albert, Steve Jones, Ahmad Rashad from Madison Square Garden. First of the NBA doubleheader will be followed by the Chicago Bulls and the Los Angeles Lakers. Hardaway for 3. Marshall is able to get to it. Oh, what a play. As Patrick Ewing contests the shot attempt of Billy Owens, and the foul called on Ewing. That is number 4 for Ewing.
You see the strength of Marciulionis as he gets back to that ball and then comes back inside it. He knows one thing to do. He knows where the basket is. He'll start in the direction of the basket, then either try to score it or make a pass.
Billy Owens only a 65% free throw shooter, but he's 6 for 6 today. A look at the foul rundown. Wilkins and Ewing 4-piece. Marciulionis and Hill each have 4. Warriors have shot very well at the free throw line.
If the Knicks could find a hot hand, they can stay in this game.
Hardaway finding Marciulionis. It counts, and the foul. Jackson called for the reach-in.
The reason that the Knicks would be able to stay in the game if they were able to find a hot hand is because the Warriors are going to continue to look to score. They're not concerned that much with running the clock down. They're concerned with getting that ball in the basket. Starks to foul, 3-point play.
Yes, correction. It was Starks, not Jackson, called for that last foul. And Golden State leads 109-99. Ewing is fouled, but the Warriors continue, as you mentioned, do the excellent job of doubling up on Patrick Ewing, and they have just taken him out of the game. Ewing last week, 35 points, 21 rebounds against Golden State. That only the second team foul by the Warriors.
Now, their defense can be much more aggressive. They got Ewing out on the perimeter, and even though he knocked that one down, that's where you want to see him, shooting deep out on the floor.
Warriors lead 109. 101. 3:15 left in the fourth. Marciulionis with another gorgeous pass. It counts, and the foul.
This is a perfect example of what the Warriors do best and why they're so dangerous. It's called draw and kick. You'll see the help come Ewing. There is the leave. The result, Hill at the line with a chance for 3.
McDaniel called for his 3rd. Tyrone Hill has come up very big once again against the Knicks. 20 points for Hill, the second-year player from Xavier of Ohio. And Golden State leads by 11, just under 3 remaining in the fourth. Ewing, yes. Warriors 112, and the Knicks 103. The Golden State Warriors come in with a record of 27-13. Tied for second in the Pacific. Game and a half behind Portland. It'll be Golden State ball. 10 on the shot clock. And a timeout taken by Don Nelson. We'll be back in a moment.
Hello! Oh, what a move by Jordan!
Magic. Yes! There it goes! Ewing. Yes!
The world's greatest athletes will all be there to play in the NBA All-Star Game next Sunday on NBC.
We're at the Forum in Los Angeles. It's about noon on the West Coast, and this is Dick Enberg with an assist from Magic Johnson as we await the Bulls and the Lakers. We'll see Michael Jordan. You tell us how you would describe Jordan of the Bulls.
Well, he's unbelievable. He's having another MVP-type season, and people are paying up to $2,000 or $3,000 just to come in here and watch him today.
Can the Lakers beat the Bulls?
Well, James Worthy told me 3 things they must do. Control the tempo, control the boards, and their bench must outplay the Bulls bench.
And you must control your emotions. You're an announcer now. We'll be with you. Second game of the doubleheader. Now back to the Garden in New York.
All right, Dick. The Lakers and the Bulls to follow the Knicks and the Golden State Warriors. Capacity crowd here at Madison Square Garden for the 8th time this season. That matches all of last year with this, the 8th sellout, 19,763. Golden State taking over in the second half. They lead by 9. Chris Mullen is now 7 for 22. At one stretch, he missed 11 straight.
But they haven't needed his hot hand. They have found some other people to step up. Owens, Hill.
And McDaniel had his shot deflected. Stay right here, says Steve Javie. And the call against Golden State. It's on Hill. That is his 5th. He'll be replaced by Victor Alexander.
The Knicks need some turnovers. They need turnovers on their defensive end of the floor. They need to come back and find some scoring punch. They've got Vandeweghe who can shoot threes.
Jackson from downtown. Now Starks for 3. Well, he hit his first 3, but he has been off. And it will be Golden State ball with 2 minutes remaining in the 4th quarter. The Knicks and Golden State each have 3 timeouts remaining. They are both out of their 20s. Marciulionis. And it will be Nick Ball.
There's a turnover, and that's what they want to see happen, a turnover, but they've got to come back, and the percentage is way, way down. They got to knock down some shots.
Starks beating Mullen off the dribble. So goes for the 2 to cut it down to a 7-point lead. Now pressure by the Knicks. We've seen very little pressure. And Billy Owens able to penetrate across midcourt without any trouble. Finding Marciulionis from Mullen, blocked by Ewing. And it will be Nick Ball.
Good play inside. Better play by Patrick Ewing. Alexander couldn't pick up the loose chain.
4th block for Ewing. 1:20 remaining in the 4th. Vandeweghe had the step but could not hit on the floater. And Hardaway brings to the front court. Warriors by 7. And we approach 1 minute remaining in this 4th quarter.
What the Knicks want to do is force the ball into the hands of Marciulionis. He seems to be the one most suspect at making a mistake at this point in the ball game. Nelson wants to make sure that they get good inbound pass to begin with and then go to the basket.
Off the leg block, it's a new 24, and a foul is given. Knicks are over the limit. Ewing called for his 5th. The high man of the game, Hardaway, with 28 along with 13 assists. Hardaway had the terrific 3rd quarter. Owens with 28 points. Ewing has 24, and Starks with 21, but Starks at 17 at the half. Mario Elie is back, and Sarunas Marciulionis will sit down. Victor Alexander, only a 72% free throw shooter, able to hit on both. And the Knicks take a timeout with 1:03 to go in the 4th. While the Knicks trailing by 9 and facing the end of the 5-game win streak. A look at today's Miller Genuine Draft Player of the game. And this is Tim Hardaway putting moves on off a steal and then able to take it all the way down and able to hit for 2 of his 28 points. In recognition of that play, Miller Genuine Draft will donate $1,000 to the Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Fund. The Knicks only 3 for 9 from downtown. Make it 3 for 10 and 0 for 7 in the second half. A loose ball foul has been called on Owens. The Golden State Warriors with a record of 13-6 on the road. Second best road record in the league. Chicago is number 1 at 17-5. Mullen called for the foul.
Nelson didn't want to see that happen. He wants to see the clock run, make the Knicks work real hard to get us scores. We take a look at the road records, and the Warriors really made a big turnaround. Last year, they couldn't get it done. Now they believe they can win anywhere, and their road record indicates that second best in the NBA.
Yeah, they've won 3 of the last 4, 6 of the last 8 on the road. Warriors over the limit. Through that foul by Mullen. Here's Alexander back. Hill will sit down. Don Nelson continues his shuffle. And Anthony Mason replacing Patrick Ewing. Pat Riley looking to preserve Ewing, who has 5 fouls. 55 seconds to go in the fourth. Warriors with the win on Friday against Denver snapped a 3-game losing streak, but even with the 3 straight losses coming into today, they've won 6 of their last 9. They've played very well. 15 wins the last 21 games. Pressure by the Knicks leading to that foul. Both teams are over the limit. Wilkins picks up his 5th. Ewing now returns, replacing Mason. And Mario Ellie will go to the line.
The Warriors are a very good free throw shooting team, and that is a problem when you're trying to catch up. You've got to stop the clock. You've got to put some people on the line can knock them down. You're going to find yourself on the long end of the stick. Riley trying to pull out all of the stops, but not enough time.
Mario Ellie at 83% foul shooter. The Knicks take a timeout with 45 seconds remaining in the fourth. Well, the Golden State Warriors with a 116-107 lead over the New York Knicks. 45 and 4/10 seconds to go in the fourth. Michael Jordan and the defending world champion Chicago Bulls facing James Worthy and the LA Lakers. A rematch of last year's finals. And in their earlier meeting in the Windy City, the Lakers were able to knock off the Bulls in convincing fashion. Dick Enberg, the czar of the telestrator, Mike Fratello, to be joined by Irvin Magic Johnson, providing the commentary this afternoon. That is following the Knicks and Golden State. Here's Wilkins. Warriors now lead 116-109. Knicks are down to 1 timeout remaining. Both clubs are over the foul limit. And the foul on Wilkins, so that is his 6th, and he will depart. Leads with 14 points. Well, the executive producer of NBC Sports is Terry O'Neill. The coordinating producer of the NBA on NBC, Tommy Roy. Today's game produced by John McGinnis, directed by John Gonzalez. NBA Showtime, produced by Ricky Diamond, directed by Kelly Atkinson. Our technical directors, Jeff Court and Richard Sansevier. And our statistician, Mr. Stats, Elliot Cowan. You saw Brian Quinnett, a man who has not seen much action as of late, come on for the first time. He has not played the last 8 games. Brian Quinnett in his 3rd year out of Washington State. He can hit from long range. Knicks are down by 9. 35 seconds to go. McDaniel from downtown. Knicks cannot hit the long shot. Jackson able to convert.
The Knicks have to have breakdown after breakdown in order to get in it. They need to stop the clock. They're going to let the Warriors pass the ball around and use a lot of time. 19 seconds left in this ball game. The Warriors got their number, 118. The Knicks got more than their number, but in a game of pace, they fell apart in the second half. They couldn't continue to make perimeter shots, and that really was the difference in the game. They had no answer for Tim Hardaway as he took the game over in the 3rd quarter.
16 for Hardaway in the 3rd, 16 of his 28. Billy Owens with 29 points, adding to his career high. The Knicks were 3 for 3 from downtown in the first half. They're 0 for 8 from three-point land in the second. Time running out. Band away. Warriors now lead 120 to 113. Gwinnett went for the steal. 10 seconds to go. And Golden State in no hurry at all. Final seconds, so the Warriors get a split of the season series. They go to 28